I'm working on this 17.5 horsepower Scott 42-inch cut riding mower, hydrostatic, and the drive belt broke on it. So what I've done is disconnect the mower, and I just went ahead and just pushed it up on the mower to kind of act as ramps, and I've got the parking brake on. And so to disconnect the mower, it's got 4 pins you can pull out. There's one here, there's the ones here, and then on the other side, and then it's got one in the front. Then you have to pull a clip out of this. This engages the mower. Pull a clip out of the end of this. This attaches on the deck on the left side. Pull this clip out, and then you can slip that out, which will give it slack, and then just slip this spring out of the bracket. Bracket is right here. This bracket here. I think so, yeah. And then just slip the belt off, and should be good. And this deck belt looks pretty good. Good enough to run for a little while. I don't see any bad spots in it. This drive belt is shredded, so we will replace that. You can see it's been losing chunks, and it got wrapped up and bound up when it came apart in here, so that's gonna be a mess trying to get it apart or get it out of there. So let me I don't even know how this one routes, so let me try to figure this thing out and see how the belt goes. It looks like this side here is a straight shot to the motor, and the other side comes down, wraps under this pulley, around it, around this next pulley, and then around and to the back of the pulley. So that looks like how it routes. Yeah. So not too difficult. But definitely easier to do with the mower deck off. It took me less than 5 minutes to get the mower deck off and push this thing up onto the mower deck. So definitely worth your troubles to do that. And it's a good time to inspect the deck belt and replace it if needed at the same time. But like I said, this one's in good enough shape. I don't see any bad spots in it. It's got some wear to it, but definitely still good for a while. So we're gonna run it. This, you can tell, had been deteriorating for a while. The deck belt has probably been replaced before. This is probably the original drive belt. So, and this was a free mower, and so we're in the cost of this thing under 20 bucks for the cost of the belt. It was like 12, 14, or 15, I don't remember. It was on eBay. This is the one. It had a broken throttle shaft on the carburetor, and they thought it had a governor problem. They bought a new mower, and it sat for a long time, gave it away, and realized, and so we replaced the throttle shaft and the carburetor and got it running again. What was happening is the butterfly was all the way open, so we had started up and it would rev full speed. And I think when it was rev full speed, it broke this drive belt. And because we fixed that, and we realized it didn't have drive, and then saw that the drive belt was shredded. So we're gonna get that replaced, and we'll see how this thing actually runs. It hasn't been run, and we fixed it probably 2 years ago, and it's actually got cut off. This is our third mower. We've got 2 other mowers, so really didn't have a use for it. Kind of have a use for it now, so we're gonna get it going. Had it running a year ago, I guess, and realized the drive belt was broke, so really didn't want to take the time to do it at that point, and I didn't have the belt, so I ordered the belt, and then I've had it, and just now that I've gotten around to have time to do it, we're going to do it. And so we'll just need to start this thing back up. I don't know, the carburetor maybe needs some work, but let's get the deck belt on, or the drive belt on first. Okay, so this thing is not the easiest to replace, but it is replaced now. There's a couple things you need to do. I loosened this bolt right here, or I took this bolt out and I've started it back in now, but it'll allow you to, you might be able to slip it over, but to me it was easier to just take that one bolt out. Oh, I gotta slip that back in. So I could get this cover right here. Around. It actually drops into there. There we go. I don't think you can really do it without undoing it, so I might as well just take that bolt out so you can slip that back, so you can get the belt around. That belt guard right here goes all around it, and I don't think you can slip the belt on without undoing this. So the other thing you have to do, take the nut off this steering shaft, take this gear off, and go and pull up on the steering wheel, and it'll pull the steering shaft out. Then slip your belt. The belt goes on each side of the steering shaft. You can see that side of the belt, steering shaft, other side of the belt. So you need to slip that up, slip your belt under the steering shaft, so you get one side on each, and then you can put the steering gear back on. Then up here, you got to loosen the crankshaft bolt, or take it out, and then slip this pulley off. Luckily, this pulley just slipped down. It was not seized on the shaft. If yours won't, I almost contemplated bending those guards away from the pulley and then pushing them back. That was going to be my resort if this did not go easy, but it went easy, so we did it the right way. Then let's see what else. Oh, I found it easier because my belt, you may be able to do it without taking these off, but my belt was all, my old belt was all caught up in these pulleys and pinched. I found it easier to take this nut off and that nut off and take these pulleys off. That also allowed me to check, make sure the bearings, all that stuff are good. And they were in good shape. So pulled those off, and then you just route your belt around this pulley. This is the front one. And then between the pulley and this little guard here, then around this other pulley, between the pulley and the guard, and then it runs to the back and around the hydrostatic pulley. And that's it. So now I'm just going to assemble it the way it came apart. I've got everything tightened back up under here except for that one right there. And so we're about ready to slip the deck back on and slip the deck belt back on. I might show y'all, since I didn't show y'all taking the deck off, I might just show some highlights of putting it back on. So I'll pick that up in just a minute. Alright, so here's those pins I was talking about. So this back one goes to this bracket, this one goes to this bracket, Same on the other side. And then you've got one in the front right here that goes in this hole. And then the belt, just put it over this belt guard. There's one on the other side too. Slip it over the pulley and slip it over that back belt guard, and just like that. And it rides on this side of this little post. So I'll get all those hooked up, and then I'll show y'all the PTO engagement spring cable. Alright, I probably should have done this while the deck was still down, because you could have seen better. But here's the little bracket that this cable goes in, and there's a hook spot for the spring. Is it right there? Yeah. So right next to this pulley, there's a hole. See that hole right there? This spring goes under the belt, under this bracket, and goes in there. I think it actually went this way. There we go. So that's hooked. And this, sorry for shaky cam. Then this thing, just pull it tight, and then it pops in that bracket. Yeah, goes in that way. They had this in it. I'm gonna figure out. I guess they had this off before, and it's a piece of a cotter key. I'm just gonna slip that back in there. There. That'll hold it. So we should be in good shape. You know what? I think I told y'all wrong on this pulley. It goes on that side of it. There we go. Just like that. So we're all hooked up and ready to go. So I've got a new battery to put in here. So let me hook it up and we'll see if this thing will start. Cold start, or it's not cold, but it's first start in probably several years. I can't remember if I started it up at any point, but let's see how it does.